Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be following Moose Undying, and this is one of the best offlaners of the patch. This hero is so disruptive in pubs, and it's hilarious how Undying, a hero that is notorious for his inability to shove waves and get farm, is actually the furthest thing from that. Undying is legitimately a flash farming hero. Recently, literally yesterday, on my 7.6k MMR Smurf, I decided to log on, play a mid-Undying game. I went like 12-1 and had the highest net worth by a long shot. This hero is a stupid good core, and let's get into the video. By the way guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the GameLeap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. Alright, so the first thing I need to lay down before we actually start looking at a gameplay is why this hero is actually a flash farmer now and wasn't in the past. A couple things were changed. Number one, Decay used to do reduced damage to creeps. That is no longer the case. Decay does maximum damage to creeps, so it is your farming ability. On top of that, at level 10, you have a 55 Decay damage talent. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Speed, but 15 seconds of tombstone cooldown seems really good. Are you sure I want to skip that? Yes! The reason why is because 55 Decay damage allows you to two-shot waves. It is absolutely massive to have the capability to flash farm and kill off a creep wave in the matter of about 5 seconds. That's extremely valuable on any hero, and Undying has that now. And finally, the last reason why this hero is a good core and can flash farm is Tombstone. It takes ancient stacks. You heard that right. Ancient stacks. You easily can wipe through a 5-6 stack of ancients, like 10 minutes into the game. I'm not kidding. So in the laning stage, it's really not much different than core. I actually even think that this hero could be a good safe laner, which sounds like ironic and as a joke. It's not a joke. It's legit. I even think it could just be a position 3, but played in the safe lane. You know, like some aggro stuff. But nonetheless, all you do in the laning stage is just decay the safe laner over and over again. You could, obviously, the main goal is to get double decays. If you can get double decays and you can get 8 damage, like, it is stupid easy to CS, right? He also has 2 gauntlets, a quelling blade, and a branch. So essentially, this is one of the easiest heroes in Dota to last hit with. Has a really good animation as well, and you can even use decay to secure creeps. At level 1, it's pretty bad, so you should focus on just like building up decays and CSing with that. Skipping ahead, basically every game, Mu goes about the same build. He's gonna go into Soul Ring. Makes sense. Strength early on, and then you need armor. Your hero has like major armor problems, so he goes Soul Ring into Phase Boots. That completely solves the physical damage problem you have. And after that, we'll get into when the time comes. Next up, for all Undying players, I'm sure you guys know how good Tombstone actually is, but really the main thing you need to do to maximize it is get the lane back. If you do not get the lane back, Undying is a horrible laner. I don't think people realize this because there's a lot of position 4 players that pick Undying, and they don't get the fact that the reason why position 4 Undying is really questionable is because the hero is really good at level 1. It's really good at level 1 because it does a bunch of damage. Now, you can use that damage to CS and deny, which you can do as an offlaner, but you can't do that as a position 4. So, position 4 Undying completely loses out on his capability to pressure at level 1 because the wave starts under their tower. So, you need to get the lane back. Once you get the lane back, you can essentially just go for a kill right away. You'll see in this clip here, right as Mu hits level 3, or just about when he hits level 3, he's going to set up on this Clinks and kill him. Half HP to a little bit over half HP, he just straight up goes in. He even dropped down the Tombstone kind of late, to be honest here. I think he was a little bit hesitant on whether or not he'd go for the kill, but yeah, after a couple of zombies come out, it's an easy set of kills. One more interesting play he makes here is he actually suicides in lane. Essentially, this hero has no good way of sustaining with this build. Because you're maxing Tombstone, you don't have any heals, and therefore he just, literally runs to the tier 2 and dies. It does feed a little bit of gold away, but honestly, it's really good for your ability to just spam decay and not have to feel too bad about using Soul Ring. On the note of taking stacks, I don't know, it's just so funny to me, but it's 5 minutes into the game, my man just drops the Tombstone and starts farming up the stacks. But you can see how fast it actually is. Like, It seems like one of those things where someone tells you, like, yeah, you could take a stack of Ancients with Tombstone, you're just like, yeah, okay, man. Like, very cool, man, sure, I believe you. But no, it honestly just annihilates the stacks. Like, look. Like, destroyed. It easily took the stack. And what's great about this hero is if you manage to find stacks, like, you know, your position 4 can even stack the large camp for you. If you manage to clean these up and hit an early level 5, Decay just becomes nasty. It does a lot of damage. Like, it just straight up does a good amount of damage because it steals strength and does 80 base. And yeah, you just club people down. When you have boots, you can ask your position 4 to buy an Oov, or you can even buy an Oov as well. And you can just chase people down. Like, Clinks just straight up dies from full HP. Before we move on from the laning stage, I want to say one more thing. Make sure when you pick Undying offlane, you have a position forward that can generally help you in the lane. It's best with heroes like Coddle, Windranger, Lina, even Bane, Silencer, heroes that can enable you early on to just get XP. You really also want heroes with disables if possible, which is why the first heroes I recommended were Coddle, Lina, and Windranger. Every single one of the heroes can help you poke early on, secure range creeps, and when you get strong and you build up a bunch of decays or want to put down Tombstone, all of those heroes have some sort of a disable to help you stay on top of people. Moving ahead to the 10-minute mark, what's really cool here is he not only spent the 9-minute stack timer and 10-minute stack timer stacking Ancients, he also, when he could, stacked this camp. Unfortunately, this is a very high MMR game, so the Battle Rider had the awareness to come take the stack. He's rank 69, which is, you know, that's just such a pog. But yeah, basically, he walked over here, took the stack. But you can imagine what you do is you take the Ancients, you put a Tombstone here, you decay the Ancients, the Tombstone will literally clear this stack alone. It will clear it alone, and you farm the Ancients with autos and decay. It is that good. And as we'll see here, unfortunately, as I said, Battle Rider does end up taking this stack, but as the Ursa shifts over, he just puts down the Tombstone, and they clear the stack. He was even nice enough to actually give his Ursa the last hits. It's really cool that you can do that. Obviously, in your pubs, I just recommend be greedy and take the farm for yourself, but it's still good. And you'll actually see throughout this game, Moo has no problem just chucking down Tombstone to farm. You don't want to look at this hero as a fighting hero, which I know sounds crazy. It's like, what? It's like every hero nowadays, like Clinks, is just, every hero's turning into just a flash farmer. But nah, I mean, if you're playing on Dire, you have the capability to put down a Tombstone right here, and that actually just farms all three of the camps. You do have to continuously drag out this camp on the left side, but once it builds up a couple zombies, it just kills all the camps. It's that easy. It's that easy. Before I move on to these upcoming Roshan attempt, I do want to say that he actually took the Tombstone cooldown. I have seen Moo do both at this point. I think the reason why he does this and why he's doing this is because he just sees it as his farming tool. So it is nice to, at least stack farming tool, it is nice to drop it. It's also good because, you know, without Tombstone, this hero can't really teamfight. So honestly, I think you can justify either way. If you're playing really greedy and you plan on split pushing, then taking Decay is better because it will let you 2-shot the waves. However, you can see you still 3-shot the waves. Like 3 Decays still clears out the waves. So it's not nearly as good for shoving waves, but if you plan on team fighting a lot, which, you know, is very common in pubs, then, well, it's not a bad option. The next thing to note is his general item build. In this game in particular, he ends up going an Echo Saber, into a Blink Dagger, into Shard, into BKB. Now, let's kind of break down all of these items real quickly. Number 1 is Echo Saber. Well, this item is kind of just a perfect item for Undying. It lets you stay on top of people, it lets you build up zombies with your Shard, it gives you mana regen, which you desperately need, it gives you strength. It's just a good Undying item. Blink Dagger. You don't have to go Blink Dagger every game. Sometimes your team is just going to have a ton of stuns and frontliners, and you don't have to do it. Now, to be fair, his team has an Ursa and a Storm, but honestly, with the enemy team having multiple ways of chain stunning people with Sand King and Shaker, him initiating with his ulti on is a great way to guarantee that Ursa and Storm get to jump high value targets without getting chain stun. So I like that adaptation here. And then finally, he goes for a BKB. You might be wondering, oh, BKB, why not Ags? The thing is, your hero gets kited. It does. It doesn't have a stun. And you might be like, oh, but it has a slow. Yes, it has slow, but people can kind of play around it. You have to get on top of them or build up zombies for the slow to actually matter. So, yes, the Blink Dagger does help with that, but BKB prevents you from getting kited. And, just most importantly, lets you do a stupid amount of damage. Like, this hero, it's not about the disables. It's not like you literally pump damage with auto attacks. Another nice thing about Undying is how good this hero actually is at taking Roshan. A couple things to note is that its ultimate, even though it doesn't seem like it's going on here, it is, it's just a bug. The ultimate puts the debuff on Roche, which means that Roshan takes 35% extra damage, obviously when you're level 18, from every single source of damage, which is insanely high. On top of that, with your shard, you just constantly build up zombies. Also, if the enemy team was to contest, Tombstone is one of the best Roshan abilities in the game. It's absolutely insane how hard it is to fight into Roshan if there's a Tombstone nearby. And honestly, the general gist in the team fights is really straightforward, but you'll see the impact come into play here. I also, after this, will show you guys a brief clip of a team fight of my mid-Undying gameplay. It's pretty insane how much you can do, but he blinks in onto the backline, and after he hits this Oracle, you'll see what I mean with the DPS. 2 auto attacks, it was like a third of this guy's HP. Considering he didn't decay him or soul rip him, you can imagine that you can almost one-shot certain supports at certain points in the game, and that's pretty damn impressive. I also didn't mention what the shard does. It reduces your ulti's cooldown by 30 seconds, and every time you hit someone, it builds a zombie. It's just really good. So upcoming here, I went a bit of a different build this game. I went Echo Saber into Lotus. It kind of was just like one of the best Lotus games of all time. Lotus is also really nice for the amount of mana regen that it gives you in the early game. If you go Echo Saber Lotus, you'll never run out of mana. So it is something to consider. It was just great. Time Dilation, Cold Snap, Spirit Vessel, you know, Ignite. It was just such a nice game. Even, alright, Spirit Breaker ulti to some extent if you see him coming. So I just felt like it was the perfect game for it. Usually I would recommend going BKB. It's much safer. This was kind of just an experiment, but I definitely think it paid off. Also, armor is really good on this hero, as we talked about. But yeah, I ended up also going Ags. Lotus was kind of my BKB here. I went for the Ags, and the thing is, if you flash farm fast enough and you're mid, if you hit level 20, which is the minus 1.5 second decay cooldown, decay is a 2.5 second cooldown, and it does a poop ton of damage. It's like 300 damage. And on top of that, it obviously gives you 10 strength and steals 10 strength. So you'll see in this team fight here, fight breaks out, I pop my ulti, I go onto this Ogre, just completely remove him practically alone. After that, I'm going to drop a Tombstone, and Invoker is like, yeah, it's just an Undying round, just ignore him. But I heal up my Jakiro, and then, yeah, this is their mid laner, by the way. And you might be like, oh, Speed, this is your Smurf. These guys aren't good at the game. These guys aren't good at the game. They're not, this is not legit. This would never work. Yeah, okay. But yeah, you just completely remove these people from the fight. Delete that guy, Monkey King. I immediately remove him from his from his ulti, and it was an absolute beatdown. So I have 6.5k HP, 31 minutes into the game. I'm almost level 25 already, and look at my net worth, 20k. It's so good. This I'm telling you guys, this build, not only is it fun, it's really a blast, as you can like flash farm stacks and just bully people in team fights. I even won Satanic, which is pretty funny. Another dispel this game, which is just so valuable. And yeah, I actually think this hero has a lot of potential. And so yeah, just make sure you pick it with heroes that can go in, that can stun people. You know, this game I had like a carry Tiny, had a, you know, Jakiro and Mars Arena, so I did have a lot of good stuns, which is quite good to keep people around the Tombstone. And yeah, that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this is something where you're like, you're afraid it's just really bad. It's not. It's actually good. Just make sure you treat it as a flash farmer, okay? Please. Make stacks, take stacks, and get racks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.